We're back in the workshop. Right, so everything is still how I left it from the last video that I did, and you guys was putting on loads of messages about the free bikes. Proper mixed bag there. We had comments saying, done too many Scots on the channel, don't really like Scots, do the trek, the steel's real. I get it, guys, I get it, get everything, all the comments. I agree with all different bits of it, ins and outs. But the thing is, we're going to build all three anyway now. I thought I'd start with an easy one, but I kind of figured out that none of these free bikes are generally going to be easy, because I'm going to have to start rummaging for all my parts bins and all sorts, because usually I gather everything together and go from there. So on this one, you might see me rummaging through bits. So we'll figure it out as this video goes on. We're gonna tidy this bike up, and if you watch the Don't Tell Bike Shed Girl that I brought another bike home, I'm just making sure she's not coming out, because she did say she's going to come out and help me with this build. So yeah, I'm not going to mention that. As far as she's aware, I've had this for a long time, and it's just been a frame in the top shed. So no comments dropping me in it on this video. So on that note, we have got a few updates as well. One being the Specialized. Keep an eye out for a few cheeky shorts and stuff. I'm dropping one today, that when I'm making this, but I'm also dropping a few other shorts as well, because that baby is getting built in the next week and a half. You guys can see it. So what do we need to do to this Scott to get it where it needs to be? Let's have a look at the frame first of all, yet again, very quickly. So as you can see, it's not the cleanest of frames. You know, we've got a lot of grime in and around there. You know, it's not the tidiest in and around anywhere, to be fair, but it's got a nice pearlescent kind of look, and it is relatively a light frame. So I'm going to kind of go through just some kind of tips and stuff. What I do, it's like all of that down those legs, we should be able to buff out, clean up, and get it all relatively nice and clean. So got a work cut out, but we'll make it happen. Well, I had a young chap, well, I don't know if he's young, but I had a gentleman ask in the comments about cleaning and polishing. Now, it's not something I've really kind of mentioned in and around, obviously, videos that I've done before. So in this video, I am going to give a lot more tips in terms of like what I do in terms of builds anyway. The first one being is obviously cleaning fluid. Obviously, you can go out and buy the expensive kind of like muck off and all that and the specific bike cleaners, but you don't have to break the bank in terms of what stuff you use to clean your bike down with. Now, when a frame's stripped down like this, it's relatively easy to kind of clean a bike. So when you're looking at cost-effective options, there's a lot you can generally do. So for example, I'm using just literally wash and wax car cleaner. It's watered down a hell of a lot in there. So that's only kind of like, it's almost like shampoo, but it will do the job. And generally speaking, a clean down is the first off thing that I do. You know, a couple of brushes, give it a really good scrub, make sure all the dirt's off, give it a wipe off. And that's step one. Step two would be, wherever it's gone, basically any kind of stubborn marks, I kind of give them a bit of a clean off with like a bit of isopropanol cleaner. And then following that, I'll give it a full T-cut and wipe down and really good polishing up, you know, using polishing powers. And then after that, I will give it a silicone shine spray, which will then put like a protective coat in. You can have like frame protect spray. Muck Off do some great, like really low cost frame protective spray as well. And it kind of just leaves a coating on there, so kind of repels any sticking dirt and stuff. So we'll crack on cleaning, because I want to get to building this. So let's do some mechanicking, and let's do some cleaning, and let's do some fixing, and bish bash bosh, in no time we're going to have a nice running bike. It's not my size, it's a little bit too small, but I think this will be a great little summer bike for my lad to kind of like swap onto a different bike and kind of just hit the trails with me a bit. So let's go from there. Well, that is the first clean down done. Now, obviously, if the bike was absolutely ditched, I would actually take it out into the garden. I would give it a proper, really good scrub. Obviously, any stubborn dirt, I'd use a little bit more aggressive kind of brush in terms of like a little bit stiffer to kind of really kind of loosen it up, let things soak, give it a really good clean. This isn't too bad. It's mainly just got a lot of kind of like scuffs and things like that. That's only... it's not gone, a lot of it has not gone through the lacquer, so to speak, so we can buff a lot of it out. So in terms of this, when you're building bikes, you get out of it the amount of time you want to put in. Obviously, if you do bikes to kind of flip and make money off, obviously you want your time to kind of work for you, so you wouldn't go as in depth with it. But here in the bike shop, in the bike shed, in the workshop, should I say, bike shop, workshop, woo. Obviously I like to put in a bit more of, just a bit more in love into the bikes and just really detail it as much as possible, just to make it look, every bike as sexy and as like awesome as possible. So now obviously I've done the cleaning side of it. Now I'm just basically going to start polishing it, buffing out them marks, and
God, it stinks. Bloody hell. What are you doing?
it's isopropyl.
Alright.
I'm cleaning all now, cleaning the frame down.
Oh. It's cosy, isn't it?
I've got a nice little setup.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing a bit of polishing.
God, how are you not high?
Who says I'm not?
Whew, this is potent. If
No,
only they had smell-o-vision.
I've got the fan on. Well, the fan's keeping me warm, but... So basically, look, I'm just polishing it all up, getting it all ready.
Ready for what?
Well, ready to be built.
Ooh.
So, it's not looking too bad, it's getting there. It's got a bit more to do on there, and a bit more to do down there, and that. Well, I've got a bit more to do up there, but it's getting there.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Give you a little demonstration.
Yes, please.
Even though you were saying that I was polishing turds. Alright, so... Right.
Definitely looks like a turd.
No, right, look. Right, so you see all the marks there, look? Obviously you want to get all that buffed up, you want to make it look as nice as possible. So, generally, I've given it a general, just normal clean, with normal kind of like cleaning fluid. So then, give it a squirt down with a bit of alcohol cleaner on the actual rag itself. Try and always use a clean bit. And then, basically all there, look, we've got all that mark down there. We're basically gonna give that just a quick shimmy like that, and you can see, look, straight away. And then once we've cleaned all that up, once we've got it as clean as possible, then we go in with obviously a bit of teacup, and that's even better then. And then teacup is basically, again, a bit of a clean rag. Kind of make this go a long way, this as well. Whoop. A few little bits there, and basically just give the frame just one last kind of rub down. See, I'm not expecting to get the frame perfect, but a nice teacup gets rid of all that grime and crap that's been sitting on the frame. Gives it a nice shine. Right, obviously, it's got a little chip there. You can't buff that out. I think it's a chip. Could even be on the outside of the. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, that's a chip. So yeah, and then just buff it all up. And when that's all done, it's all polished and clean, then it's time to start building.
Ooh.
Well, that's about it. What you come to give me grief for anyway?
No, just wanted to see how you were and how everyone's getting on. You know.
Everyone.
Yeah.
What, me and all my personalities?
You and all your friends.
Oh, me and all my friends? Well, they're not here right now. It's not live, is it? Obviously you're recording, so...
Well, I hope everyone had a lovely Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And a happy New Year.
Is this your Christmas message? It's a bit late, you know.
It's like the King's Speech, but more important. I am going to be building a bike soon.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know what.
There's an S-Works there that I've got all the parts for now.
Oh, maybe I'll do that one then.
No, you're not doing the S-Works.
Why? You didn't trust me?
No.
Dear, oh dear.
You've never touched a bike in your life and you use weird... Oh yeah, I thought you was going to teach them more words, weren't you?
What? Oh gosh, I haven't even got normal words today.
Yeah, and you've got normal words today.
No. I'll have a thinky poo.
A thinky poo. Well,
We can have that one for free. And I'll have
thinky poo?
And I'll have a thinky poo.
I don't know why it needs to be a thinky poo. Oh, while you're here as well, I just one last little quick tip as well is when you've got sticky substances like that on your frame. Yeah, sticky substances. Now you'd think the first protocol would be the alcohol cleaner, but it's not. Spray oil. Spray a bit of that bad boy on the sticker. Whips it straight off.
I remember that when I buy
that look?
something from a charity shop.
That look starts pulling it straight off.
Their stickers are terrible. Or CEX,
Oh yeah.
your dad's favourite shop. Their stickers are impenetrable, so I'll have to come and nick that.
When you've got rubber gloves on as well, look, give it a bit of break down the oil. You can basically just push it off the frame up.
Caress it away.
Exactly. And then that gets rid of all that.
That's some serious ASMR shit, that is. Do it again.
Like that.
Oh, that's
Wait, no, you've got to let me warm up. No, it's not. It's,
You did your job that fast. Couldn't even grab it.
oh yeah, look, it's freshly all gone, look.
Bloody hell.
But the oil, the spray oil is...
Bang! And the dirt is
What are you
gone.
doing?
Silly bang!
Jesus Christ. I'm here just enjoying my polishing, and you're there going just bang.
And the dirt is
Come on,
gone.
can't you go in or something while I finish this? I'm doing stuff.
Fine. Well, as long as you're alright out here.
Yeah, I've got my
Getting
fan,
high in your shed.
No, because every now and then I crack the door open for a little bit of fresh air.
Oh, shall we let Molly in? Come on then, Molly.
Where's the dog out?
Oh, hello, Pookie. Little mascot.
You don't want to come in here, dog.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so once I've polished all this, I'm guessing, well, to be fair, this is not far off done, so...
It looks clean.
It's getting there, it's getting there. Still got to do the bottom bracket and...
Brand spanking new.
No, not brand spank. I've still got to do a bit more there, look. 'Cause it's like someone's had their feet rubbing on there. So that's like thick rubberized crap on the frame.
Get your spray oil.
Actually, I ain't try.
See, I am a level 2 apprentice if this works.
Well,
I've passed.
right, okay. Let's have a look.
Come on, moment of truth. Have I passed my qualifications?
Nope. It is coming off because that was all the way up there. So I have been getting it off. Obviously, I can't do nothing about that because that's rubbed the paint away. But I might have a bit of touch up that I can use on there. So yeah, I'll just sit in there and polish away.
Yep, you touch yourself and your bikes away, and I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye all. Shalom.
Nice little clean in there. What was you just saying about the welds?
Well, they're ugly, aren't they?
What?
Like Mr. Whippy welding. Like, is that what people like? Am I in the minority that I would like it smooth?
Oh, people like smart weld. You do get frames where they're all smoothed off, and like, a lot of people call it like smart weld and things like that. There's proper terminology about it, but why does it have to be Mr. Whipper?
It's like mousse.
What are you going on about up there?
I don't know, just the welding. It's like mousse. Someone just did a random dot there. That don't serve a purpose.
Just a random dot.
Yeah, someone dripped a bit.
Fair, someone did drip a bit there, didn't they?
Yeah, they finished the elephant's trunk there, and then went boop.
Oh, right. Oh, God, look, it's looking nice and clean.
Yep, my import has definitely made a difference.
Your import, well, I've learned something new, that welds on a bike are now referred to as Mr. Whippy welds.
Yeah, because they're literally like, you look and they're poured out like Mr. Whippy.
Alright.
Is that genuine? Like, I'm not joking.
Yeah, most. Well, you got. That's an aluminium weld. Remember, so when you see a steel weld, look, that's a steel weld.
That looks better.
Well, steel's real, so.
What is this, fake?
No, it's not fake. It's a saying. Steel's real. Like.
Got to corners, guys. You've heard it here first. They're fake.
Well, you know, they're not. The thing is, this isn't a super high level bike. This one only came with like LX and stuff like that on, so it's not like top of the range. You know what I mean? But
Licks are better than dicks.
No, don't start with that again.
LX or DX? We worked that one out.
Oh my god.
Licks are better than dicks.
We are basically just about there. So now I can just basically go over it again. I've managed to get all that stuff off there now, look. Couple of marks. I might touch that in if I've got some white touch-up paint. If not, then I'm not really going to worry about it too much.
Yeah, I've touched it for you.
I didn't mean that kind of like touching it up, but I appreciate your help there.
Yeah.
I do appreciate your help.
Did that with love.
I can tell. You're
ready for some Shimano on here?
We are not far off some Shimano.
Oh boy.
But I'm doing that tomorrow. That's not a today thing. I'm just going to get it all set, and then I need to start digging stuff out for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.
Yeah.
Say bye to your friends.
Well, I'll see you in a second. Well, here she is. She's all polished up and looking fresh. To be fair, most of it kind of all buffed out. All looking nice. Need some bolts for there. So I'll put some bolts in there as well. But she's looking nice now. She's looking nice. Right, let's crack on with this build. Now, when this bike first came in, because there is a video of when this came in, it had one of them on. I can't remember which one, but you can see they've kind of all gone like bronzy. That one's more black than anything. I think that one started off black, but kind of gone bronzy. Don't really like them, so we're going to put them in the parts bin. And what we're going to put on is a fresh black one. Fresh black one on there. It's a straight 27 dead seat post as well. So I've got this alloy one. It's not too bad. But what I'll do with all of them anyway is we'll get some auto sol out. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll bob some of that down there. Bish bash bosh. And I've got my auto sol first rag, and then basically I'll just give that a really good polish up, a good clean up before we put that in the frame. And then what I can do is I can put the seat clamp in, seat collar on, and then the seat post, and then I can get rid of that tool then what's in there. So, and then it can be held up by this. So, job's a good one. I don't really want to go crazy on the seat post because it don't look too bad, to be fair, but just a little polish, 10 times better already. So yeah, that can go in. So the seat post and seat clamps in, that looks a lot fresher. So I've decided with the forks, obviously I'm going to keep the same forks now. I'm going to get rid of that DAF reflector anyway off there. But I just thought, well, I need an headset, and I've decided to use the original one. It's a Tioga, but after cleaning it all up, it's relatively nice. So I'm just going to keep the same headset, keep that cost down on this build, and then we can kind of go from there. So with the stem and handlebars, I have actually got, because I've got a Scott Carbon scale, I've decided I'm just going to take, well, I've stripped that down ages ago because I wanted to fully rebuild it with some better stuff and all sorts like that. So we'll get to that one anyway in a couple of weeks. So we're going to basically use the stem and handlebars that I was running off that bike for this bike. Because if you can remember this one, basically it was the handlebars and like stem. It had like an adjustable stem. So, and that was from the video that I did when it was like, don't tell Bike Shed Girl that I bought another bike home. So yeah, so all I'm going to do is, as I've cleaned everything up, is just basically reuse the original headset, which is not bad at all really. So, and it's been polished up. So although I always like to look, it kind of marks on there. I can see that that one is just a little bit marked, so that one will go on the top, because that basically gets covered by the rest of the headset parts anyway. So I'll get pushing this in. No, it's not going to stay in there. We'll get pushing this in, and then what I'll do is go through the rest of the bits. So when obviously I got the bike, majority of the bike was, most of it was LX. It didn't have LX levers on, and it didn't have, oh no, it did have one LX shifter. The beauty of it is I've actually got majority of the parts to basically put all of this back to being LX. So I think the LX will complement the what was on it originally, and also complement the colour of the frame, so we can get it looking awesome. So ultimately this is becoming a parts bin build. Like, the one thing I would say is I'm unsure about what grips and saddle I've got spare. I know that the grips and handlebars that I've generally got to hand are kind of like for other builds, so might have to think outside the box on that one. So yeah, right, I will get to, I'm going to grease the bearings, slide the forks in, and I'll join you back in a second when we get the stem and handlebars back on, and I'll show you basically what I took off the Scott scale. So with everything greased up and the bearings in, we can literally just slide that in. Always make sure you've got your bearings the right way around. We'll slide those little top cap bits on for the headset as well. Push that down. I'm guessing we're going to need, because that is the Scott Component stem, so it's a nice stubby one. It's not an adjustable one, so I think 15mm spacers should do that. And I'm going to bang on some kind of carbon ones that I've got. They're just knocking around, so that looks pretty awesome. Now I need a top cap. I haven't dug a top cap out yet, so I'm going to just nip this up there. Oh, we've identified a 5mm. Oh no, lost a 5mm. Oh, found a 5mm. So that's that on. Now there, that looks actually all right with those forks in that. That looks so much better. It actually looks like a mountain bike again, rather than that. Like I say, if you saw the last video, you would know. So handlebars. So the handlebars I was running on my Scott scale was those Eastern bars. Now they've got quite a big rise on there as well, but they are 31.8, so they will go on And in my opinion, that just makes an older bike, just kind of beefs up the front end a little bit. So as everything as I always do, just nip them up, and then when everything's on the floor, I can then just make sure everything's as and where I want it to be. If it stops moving. But I've been needing to use up these parts anyway that I've had knocking around for a while, because the thing is, when you strip a bike, a lot of my parts just end up going into boxes, and when you've got years and years worth of just fiddling with bikes, you kind of end up with a lot. So, but I've been kind of meaning to give my other Scott scale a bit of life, but I don't want to do loads of Scots one after another. No one needs to see that. No one. So I just knit them up just a little bit. There you go. That's kind of beefed up that front end now. That's looking quite nice and sexy. So bottom bracket as well. You've all seen me fit a bottom bracket before, so I'll just explain this one to you. Is the one that came out is that one. Now it runs. It's not, as you can hear, it's not grinding. It's lovely. When I took this out, it just had a lot of kind of corrosion and kind of rust all around it. But I've cleaned that up really well, and I'll copper slip the old shaft. And so I'm going to reuse that, because I did clean up, and I'm going to reuse the LX chain set that came on this bike as well. So we'll get that on. Now this bike didn't have an LX rear derailleur, but I've dug one out. So dug one out there, and it's not in bad condition at all. So ultimately, component wise, I can get this back to being all LX. Now the wheels are the next issue, so let's get a few more bits on. I won't show you fitting bottom bracket again, because you've all seen that, and I'll get to a few of the other components and go from there. So given that the rear mech is LX, the front mech was the original LX, the crankset's LX, and obviously we might as well. I've been digging through boxes, and I've got another set of the actual LX levers as well. So whilst we're going to keep it LX, I'm going to get some of them on. And then we've also got, because this one only came with one when I got it, is we've got a set of LX shifters as well. So they can also, although I need to make sure I'm putting them on the right way, shifters before levers. Still need to find some brake pads though. I'm so looking forward to summer. Summer, you can see everything perfect. Quite like that. Looks a lot better all LX. I've got to dig through like 5 boxes to get some brake arms. I think I've got the LX matching brake arms, so I think I'll do some more tidying up on this first. So today is another day, another dollar. So we've got, obviously I've already, as I said, I've already put the crank on, the LX one with the matching LX mech as well, and then the LX rear mech, and then obviously the LX shifters that complement, as I said, the paint at the front. Very nice. So it's coming along. So brakes, let's get on to brakes. Well, with brakes, I had to do a bit of digging around, and going on is we're going to keep the same theme, and we've got a matching set of LX brake arms as well. So we're going to get them on, which these were actually in really good condition. I wouldn't have really wanted to use these ones. One set's a bit more fresher and quite, well, better condition than the other one. Not that the other set's in a bit worse condition. There's just a tiny bit of corrosion on one of the springs. So, but it keeps it all in keeping. So a bit of copper slip just on those brake mounts, and then we'll insert these in. There we are. And then kind of been digging around as well for the wheels, which we'll get onto next, because soon as I've got these brake arms on, I kind of want to get kind of like the tyres on. Obviously it's 9-speed, so we can, I think the wheels I'm pulled out to use have already got quite a decent 9-speed cassette on there. Not a brand new cassette, but I think I've only done a couple of miles on that cassette. It came off one of my older builds that I did way before I had the channel, so we'll just nip them up there like that. So that looks they look quite nice. They do on there. They're looking quite nice. And then just a generic set of brake pads we'll put on as well. And obviously make sure you get all your concaved washers kind of in the right place as well. I'm predicting, because the rims are quite thin, so I'm going to move the thicker spacer into the kind of closer to the inside part of the pad, and then it kind of like, we might have to change it because you don't want your brakes to kind of stick out like that at a weird angle. You kind of want them as straight as possible, just so you can dial in your brakes really nice. So I'm just going to kind of put these on and just randomly just nip them up, like, so they're not tight, but they're in there then. So when we get the wheels on, using my head as a rest there, look, so the bars don't turn. So then when we get the wheels on, obviously we can get these all set up right. So we'll get this pad on as well. It's a bit colder today as well, so my fingers are a bit numb, and I've been in the top shed digging around as well, so get these on, looking nice. So it's quite nice to kind of, and I always try and do this, is like, if I'm fitting like building a bike, I always try and kind of match up the group sets the best possible on a bike anyway. I don't like kind of loads of like odd bits on a bike, so we'll give that a good copper slip on the back as well, on the brake mounts. So I'll get the last set in like that, and then we'll jump onto wheels as well. In terms of wheels for the bike, I've pulled out, it is a set of the Dior LX black hubs. So it won't look too bad on the bike. The rims are the Rock SC. And then it's got like other stickers on there, like built in Canada, Wheel Tech. So these will do for a nice kind of run around wheel. And it's obviously got the LX hubs. It's already got a cassette on there as well. 9 speeds, so that will be fine. The front one has the same rim, but the front one has the Dior LX one with the gold kind of sticker. The one with the gold sticker means it's going to be all right for front suspension. If it was the standard black one, that one's more for the rigid forks. So if you're running a suspension in these older LX hubs, so you want, I think the same works with as well with the XT ones, with a parallax as well. I think there's a difference there, or maybe not. I know there's a difference with these ones because I've run into this before. So these will go on quite nice. They're super smooth hubs. They don't need servicing. They definitely need a bit of a clean. So I'll definitely get these. I'm going to polish these up and give them a good clean down and a good clean. But I'm going to get the tyres on first. In terms of tyres, what I've decided to use for these, because I've had these for a long time now, and I've been meaning to use them, and we're using the Continental Double Fighter 1.9. And it's more of like a semi-slick, so I think using for like canals and stuff like that, it'll be absolutely fine. And I've not actually ridden these, so I don't know how smooth they are. So I will let you know as and when I've been out. And to be fair, I said it's not going to be my size, but as I've been building it up, I'm going to be kind of intrigued to see how it is once the tyres are on. and then go from there really. But the likelihood is, like I say, my lad will probably use this in between kind of riding other bikes as well, so it's not a bad thing. And then eventually, you know, I'll probably just flip this bike at some point. In terms of skewers, I've basically got just a set of Shimano front and rear skewers, so again black, so they'll tie in generally all right on this anyway. So in terms of getting the tyres on, so get tyres on now, then I can give the wheels a good clean down. Always put a bit of air in your tyre just to give it a bit of structure, and then go from there. And as I always say, either line up the PSI rating on the tyre with the valve, or line up like the actual labelling on the tyre. Always just a good reference point then if you've got to get a puncher. And then, so I'm going to line up the actual branding of the tyre, centre to the actual valve. Then get these on. I'm not going to show you me going pumping it up. So yeah, I'll get these wheels ready and we get these on, because I want to drop the bike down and, like I say, see where the height is, see what it looks like, and then while it's down on the floor we can set the angle of the levers and shifters. I have dug out a seat and some grips. Grips I'm happy to use. The seat I think will get swapped out at a later date as well, so let's get to that bit. Right, so now all the wheels are all clean, sparkly, put these in. So once the tyres are all on, well, once the wheels are all in, we can then drop this down on the floor and make sure that everything's lined up. Then we can also, like I say, bang on the other bits as well. So, beautiful, no trim required. Lovely. Let's get the bike on the floor and start adjusting bits. See how I did that? This is actually turning out to be quite a cool little bike, to be fair. Not massively expensive, hasn't broken the bank. Like to build up, we're going to just nip up the top cap ever so slightly. Obviously that's just your compression. So compresses the headset from there. Just straighten the stem so it's nice and straight. Obviously, because since I've been building this, it's not been on the floor and been looked at as well. The thing I'd say is, if you are fixing bikes at home and you're putting wheels in while they're in a work stand, always double check them to make sure that they're fully in the dropouts on the floor, with your weight on a little bit as well, just so then you know they're fully sat into the dropouts. Because there's nothing worse than if you've not got the wheel in straight and then you go through the old palaver of setting up all your brakes and stuff like that, and then you find that your wheel wasn't in straight, and then you straighten it and then your brakes are all that, so then you have to do your brakes again. So yeah, so I'm going to tilt the rotate the handlebars just a little bit, and again these bolts wasn't tight either. Get off. Rotate them forward just a smidge, and obviously once you've been out on rides you can adjust and change these anyway. So I'm going to torque these up, so make sure that they're all kind of, the gaps on this stem are nice and equal top and bottom, and then I'm just going to go around and just nip them all up equally, and then this is set to 5, that's set to 5 Newton meters. So I've just nipped all them up, making sure that obviously the gap stays equal. And then when you go in and you torque it, this will click. Right, it will do for, there you go. So then you kind of go like in kind of a cross pattern to make sure obviously all of your bolts are tight and that. Although I think, so that nut there, if I really try and put some pressure on to try and turn it, it feels like it's just rounding. Not actually on the threads, but on the bolt head. So I'll replace that one as well in a minute. And then in terms of handlebars, I did nip these up, to be fair, didn't I? So I'll have to loosen these off for a second. So I want to get the grips on. The grips I pulled out, again, are not massively expensive. They're only cheaper ones that I've had lying around. This whole bike has pretty much become virtually a parts bin build. So what I've got is, they're all right, to be fair. The SDG, but they're all right in terms of the grips on there. So yeah, we'll use these. So it can get slided on. There we are. And then you kind of set your brakes and levers up to where you want them, and then tighten them all up. So I think for me, if my lad's going to be riding this, I'll probably end up adjusting these anyway for his hands at a later date. So I'm going to kind of just set the brake levers up to like a generic kind of 45-degree angle. And then obviously go from there in terms of minor adjustments. So knit these up ever so slightly. And then the last thing is the saddle. So I'm not going to probably use this one long term. I'm going to put it on for now because I ain't got many saddles. Well, I have, but kind of want just more of a basic one. So I'm going to use that one, which is a Sally Italia saddle. It's quite wide, so because all the others I've got are quite narrow, you see. So put this wide one on for now, and then to be fair, it don't look too bad. I've got a feeling that saddle's more of a road saddle as well. So, but it looks comfortable. It will do the job for now. So we'll nip that up and get that set. And then all we've got to do, the last things then, is just put the chain on and then cable it, and then it's done. Not a bad little bike. Cheeky little weekend build. Make sure that's straight as well. There we are. So this can now go back in the stand for the chain and the cables, and then we're pretty much done on this one. Not a bad bike at all. Oh, so this was the original chain that was married to the cassette. So it should, fingers crossed, fit. Otherwise, we'll be cracking a new chain. So make sure it's going around like that and up over the wheel there. And then feed it through your front derailleur. And then as your cassette's sitting over, mech's sitting there like that, you've got like a little tab just on the inside of the cage, and your chain kind of wants to go over that, like that. So it's sitting like that, going around that top cog like that. And then once you've gone through that tab, that wants to drop down like so. And then let's see how it's looking. So likelihood is, once I've got the cables in, what I'll do is I'll double check to make sure that when it's big to big and small to small, obviously it's not like that as well. But it looks like on this frame, it needs one link taken out. So small to small, it usually sits around there. So yeah, we'll do the big to big and then do the actual proper chain measuring. We've got a couple of ears there. Once I get some cables in. So let's crack on to cables. So all cables go in to kind of shifters relatively the same way, generally speaking, but some of them have stupid little covers. Some people, not some people, well, maybe some people. Most shifters have like stupid little covers and kind of insert in different ways. Now, Shimano, especially the shifters like the underneath ones, generally have a hole on the inside. And you can generally index straight down as well. Now, with older shifters, if they've been sat for a while, you'll find, so that's fully released anyway because I've put the cable in, but what you'll find is when I index, I'll put some pressure on there, that will go down, and if you find it's not giving you that instant click, 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 get some spray oil with a long straw and just fill the brake up, the shifter up, and then get it working again. Because like I say, a lot of the older shifters and shifters in general just end up with sticky ratchets. I cannot get my words out today. But yeah, most of them just end up with sticky ratchets and can pretty much relatively easily be brought back to life. I have had a few people go to bike shops, the bike shop's just been like, no, you need a new shifter. So that's not always the case, and that is just a little tip you can do at home if you are experiencing kind of them shifters not clicking. So, but sometimes you do need just new shifters. I always tend to look at the condition, because if they look in really nice condition, there's no kind of really big kind of dings or out to the, oh, prime example, look. So I'm only getting one click from there. So basically, as that would be, I won't be able to get up to the third cog on the crankset. So get a straw. There we are. Get that on the spray oil. And then basically jet in there. Keep working that in. And then all of a sudden you'll find, like that, well, like it just did, so caught once. Come on, where are you? There you go. Just needed a bit of spray in there. Now that's working every single time. Lovely. So we know that once I get all the cables all wired up, they're going to work absolutely lovely. And then just always put your little caps back in and so on as well. And brakes are relatively just simple to index in. However, the LX ones have this kind of like little clip just there, and the brake cable sits just in that edge. So what we can do here is, if we look down there, I can press that down there like that, and then make sure wherever your cable's coming through, there we are. So, and then the end sits just in there like that, and then you click that back down. Simple. And then you just need to take your time and just cut all your cables to length, your outer cables, and start fitting them all in. So, right, I'll do this and start cutting some cables. So I'm just chipping away at some cables, and I'll lower this down a little bit. There we go. So I'm just chipping away at some cables, and I've said it before, there's a difference between gear and brake, because the brake kind of curly whirlies around on the inside, whereas gear are stranded as well. So just measuring up and basically just finishing off the cables, and just little things like getting the brake set. I always tend to hold kind of the brake pipe in there, and then kind of try and line it up, just because you don't want a massive kind of overlap of outer cable on there as well. So always try and keep it as tidy as possible. Now obviously I'm not building a super light bike. To be fair, it's actually not too bad in terms of weight at all. And then what I'm doing just there is where I've made the cut, I'm just using a pokey to kind of poke and widen to make sure that that's all right. And then always, as always, drop some oil down that outer cable, and then put a ferrule on the end. And by this point as well, you can always make sure that your brake pads are set. Although when you kind of put your brake cables in and they're all done, just always double check on your braking anyway, because sometimes once they're set, they can rub on the tyre. So just always double, triple check on your you'll do a final check anyway. Just dropping a bit of extra oil down that brake noodle. And then with the brake noodle as well, some brake noodles take a ferrule, some don't. So this one doesn't, because that ferrule is the same width as the actual brake pipe or brake noodle, which people call it. So then we pull that all the way through. And then a little rubber as well. You always want it like a little rubber on the end. And make sure it's always posted through the right part of the brake as well. And then nip that up just a little bit, put my springs back on, pull that through, and then I'm not going to totally clamp the cable all the way down on there. I'm just going to nip it up just a little bit, just so I can see. So that's a bit too tight. So that's about where I'm kind of going to want it. So I'm going to nip that totally up now. And you're always going to want, after you check them anyway, is just double check. No rubbing. Always make sure your brake pads are sitting in the right place. They're not too bad. I reckon I might bring that one up. To be fair, now the brake's kind of pulled in, I will probably make a slight adjustment on them brake pads as well, just to make sure they're where I want them. And that one's pulling just a little bit better than that one. So you've got your springs either side. See, you can either unloosen that one to make the power better on there, or you can tighten that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quarter turn on there, and straight away that's making that pull better in and out as well. So and once that's done and you're happy with everything, just snip off the cable. And what I'm going to actually put on this is I've got some little orange cable ends, so we'll just push them on like that. And then I always just kind of like either tuck it away behind that spring, or I just tuck it down so it's out of the way, so it's not sticking totally out. So I tend to always like to do it like that. So back off this one just a little bit, because now I've played with it a bit. Well, that was a bit of a pain. Like, you see that? It just like, it just cut off what I was saying. Like, well, it just stopped recording for some reason. Went through, checked everything. Like, I was talking for ages. Well, to be fair, you didn't miss out on much because I was mainly just rambling. So, but anyway, right, let's get on. Let's have a look at the gears because I just had a brief look and I need to check the limits as well. So let's go. Let's do that because this is nearly finished. So let's do it. Well, if I drop it down to small, I actually took one link out. As you can see, it clears the bottom of the derailleur now there, which is pretty good. And then obviously once I index it all the way up to big, and then go big to big, there's still a bit of give there as well. So obviously you don't run big to big, small to small anyway because they're indirect chain lines, but you just want to make sure that you're not going to rip off any of your kind of derailleur by going to big but your chain's too small, and then when you're small to small your chain's dead slack, and so on. So in regards to that, always check your limits as well. So you always want to set your low limit. So your low limit limits the derailleur pushing into the wheel. So that's your big cog, your lowest gear. And then the screw with H on it, that limits it to dropping off the smallest cog. So you always want to make sure that they're set nice. And then once you've done your cable, tighten it in. I tend to find it easier to set it in the smallest, and then as you're pedaling, index it up. Now this is not too bad. Obviously it's a brand new cable, so I might find that eventually I'll get a bit of cable stretch in there, so then I'll have to increase the tension. So you increase the tension by going anti-clockwise on the actual plastic adjuster there, because that's basically spreading, you unscrewing it, which then increases the tension on the derailleur. But the back, and I ain't put no fresh oil on that chain, so a bit of oil, that will run even smoother with just a bit of oil on there as well. But this LX stuff really indexes really nice. The front one, so set your limits there. You want to go up into the lowest cog and then down onto the granny ring, and you want to find that the inner chain doesn't catch. So you don't want it kind of like rubbing like that. Ideally you want to, so it's just clearing that, and also then when you're indexing, it doesn't throw the chain off as well. And then same as going the other way, so going small on the back, and then you go up to the big cog. You don't want it kicking off, so you want to make sure, and you've got high and low on the front as well, and you can always see where the pivot is on the back to see where you basically which screw you need to adjust in, and then it's just a case of getting that tension generally right. So on the front it's not too bad. I think I'm going to have to tweak that. What I'm going to do is probably leave that as it is, give it some oil, and then basically take it for a test ride, because no doubt by the time I've been for a test ride and been out and about on it for a while, those cables will need an adjustment. So that is all indexed lovely. Frame's as clean as it's ever going to be. I'm really happy with this build, to be fair. Wow. Yeah. You know what? To say what state this was, that is actually polished up lovely, to be fair. I'm really happy with that. Although that one's getting built next. I've had enough. The S-Works is finally getting built. I'm doing it. Yeah, happy with that. to be honest with you, right, actually building this, and you know, I was rummaging through bits and rummaging through boxes up there, boxes down there, rummaged in the top shed. Like, I was finding other bits of stuff. I was like, oh, didn't even, I forgot I had that. What that? Oh, ooh. Like, this bike actually helped bring my mojo back a little bit in terms of building bikes, because the last thing I wanted was to go into building that S-Works and not really feeling the mojo. Like, Bike Shed Girl seems to think I have something called SAD, which is seasonal summer. Basically, it's where, I don't know, you might just feel a bit depressed during the darker months. Apparently, it's an actual thing. Because I always say, I just lose my mojo over when it's cold weather, when it's dark nights. But it's still light outside and it's getting on for 4:30 in the afternoon. I know that sounds mad, but in the UK, honestly, by the time it gets to 4 in the afternoon, usually it's pitch black this time of year. So yeah. So yeah, on that one, really enjoyed it. Relatively nice, cheap build. I'll probably get a bit of usage out of it in summer. Mainly not me, like I say, probably my lad and that lot. We'll get a bit of usage out of it. Then I'll probably do like a once over service, and then likelihood is the following year I'll probably flip this and just get rid of it, because I'm more of a steel kind of guy, and I've got enough bikes. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? It's just going to be airing around. You know, you'll probably see it in summer, like in the garden and stuff. So yeah, on that note, I'm not going to keep you any longer, because I'm sure you all want your tea and everything like that. Thank you if you got this far for joining along, and sticking by. You might not be happy that I built this one. You might have wanted the Trek or something like that. But like I say, I needed something to get thrown in there to get my mojo back for the S-Works, and it's done that. So it's ticked the box for that one. So keep an eye out for the next video coming over the next week. And then as we build up to summer and it gets warmer and the nights get lighter, we'll be back to the same old, pretty much a build every 2 to 3 days. Like, we'll just start smashing it out of the park again. So still supporting the bid, although I feel like a right Grizzly Adams. The wife said I look like a hobo. So I think I'll try and grow it out a bit more and see where we go with that. But it might get cut off eventually, especially when we get up to summer as well. So, but anyway, as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Stay safe, show a bit of kindness and a bit of love in the world, because there needs to be more of it. And yeah, we'll see you all on the next one, and I'll leave you with the kind of final little, given it's still light outside, I'll give it a final kind of pan around outside in the open world rather than looking at it in the shed. So see you on the next one. Well, there she is, all finished. Looks a lot better in the daylight. It's polished up, absolutely amazing. Oh, still not sure about that saddle, but we might have to replace that and get that gone. I love them rims. Still got the old Richie sticker on there as well. They're stickers are a bit battered, but yeah, pretty cool. I'm actually quite happy with that, to be fair. Yeah.